Good morning and welcome to today's edition of Daily Transformational Messages from Francis Meribe. I am delighted to be with you in today's episode, which is episode number 8. The topic for today is allow yourself to be persuaded at least some of the times. You may not know when it is an angel on an errand to save you. The month was March 1983. The setting was Agbai Agu Uka's bookshop beside the defunct NITEL office in the Secretariat in Enugu. The day looked normal. By the time I arrived the Secretariat with my typewriter, which I was using to type your documents business, the precursor of today's business centers, inside the Agbai's bookshop, the sun was fully risen and the day was bright. No sign of rain that morning. Nothing about the life-altering incident that missed me by the whiskers, which nearly ruined Agbai's life, was indicated as I entered the shop. And as usual, Agbai welcomed me with a smile. I set my typewriter up and picked up a book and sat down to read. A customer came to ask about a magazine displayed outside. In my traditional system of making myself useful wherever I am, I went out before Agbai to attend to the customer. Just as we ended the transaction and I turned to re-enter the shop, I felt a hand grab me by the shoulder from behind, and I turned, and both of us exclaimed with great joy. Standing before me was Clement from my hometown, with whom I spent 3 years together in the same school town, Mbausi, in the Isialangwa North local government area of Abia State, Nigeria. We hugged each other and we each struggled to excitedly feel each other with what our lives have been like since 1978, when we parted ways after secondary school. You can imagine trying to use a short space of time to fill up 5+ years of not seeing each other. Though we have chatted standing for over an hour, when Clement wanted to start going, he insisted that I escort him to Opera Avenue in Enugu, where he would catch a taxi to return to his office. But there was a problem. It was about break time, and there is this girl who works at the NITEL office that Agbai has been interested in and had wanted my help in getting the girl's attention. I felt that if I followed Clement to where he would get a taxi, I would miss the opportunity of seeing the girl when she comes out of the office to go for lunch, which time I was going to do the talking to get her to have lunch with Agbai. So I refused to escort Clement. But if you know Clement, you will know that what he did is what he would do. He insisted that I must escort him, and every effort to persuade him otherwise proved abortive. I figured that if I continued to refuse, Clement might not move an inch. And the last thing I wanted was to have a distraction when the girl comes out of the premises onto the road beside our bike shop. So I obliged, hoping that I would just get him into a taxi quickly and race back to position for the chase. As we started for the main road, Clement started afresh, as if we have not yet spent more than 1 hour chatting on our school days and what we have all been about since that time. When we got to the main road, while I was busy hailing every taxi that came along so that Clement would be gone, Clement was busy rejecting every taxi that stopped, with a wave of hand. If he does not say this one is dirty, he will say he doesn't like the face of the driver. He either did not see or mind the irritation which was already forming in my face. We continued chatting on the road there for what looked like an eternity to me, and certainly nothing less than another 30 minutes. Finally, Clement took a taxi, and I waved him goodbye and raced back to Agbai's shop with all the speed I could muster, with a view to connecting with the girl from NITEL. On arriving at Agbai's shop, practically panting, I saw that there just were too many people than usual inside the shop. Thinking they were customers, I rushed in to help. Agbai gave me a signal which I missed. Then I kind of got confused after feeling some pensive chilling in my body. One look at the several unusual individuals inside the shop smelled trouble. I now pretended that I wanted to ask him a question. So when I shot the question at him, he shot back at me. "Can't you see I am busy? Come back later," he said, with a nice signal which I now recognized to mean scram, run. My heart skipped. I controlled it the best I could and said, "Okay, later, customer." I stepped outside and went and stood some distance away from the shop and watched the proceedings. Then I watched the men cut away every copy of Zambia Must Be Free novel book written by Kenneth Kaunda, the former president of Zambia, which Agbai received a large stock of a few weeks back. They took Agbai away along with my typewriter, and Agbai was to spend 2 months in the notorious DSP Iyamu cell in Benin City for no crime, but the kind of thing the SARS policing that Nigerians recently did SARS for. That kind of policing where they simply collect people as slightest suspicion or sometimes without suspicion, detain them, kill them, maim them, and collect bribe if the victim is lucky. Now consider, if I had not accepted the persuasion of Clement to escort him to get a taxi, consider, if I had not had patience with him to wait until he was ready to board a taxi, begin to think now. I would probably be sitting in that shop when those rogue policemen from Benin City arrived. I would have been taken along with Agbai. But that is not all. Apart from my not having any money to bear myself, which could have meant being killed by DSP Yamo's notorious rogue policemen, I would have also missed the opportunity to report for duty on the 23rd of March 1983, when I was scheduled to report for duty in the Directorate of Internal Security, the NSO, or what you have today as a DSS in Enugu, which marked the beginning of my career as a security professional. In previous episodes, you probably heard how my friend Agbai Agu Uka helped me to get into the Directorate of Internal Security. I nearly lost the job that defined the rest of my life before I even started. Apart from my life that could have been in danger if I was taken along with Agbai. Allowing myself to be persuaded by Clement, though reluctantly, saved my life, freedom, and my job. So friends, sometimes accept to be persuaded, even if you do not see the benefit immediately. This is a fact of life. This story is a real life story, and everything recounted in it is the fact. So, as you sojourn on this earth, and as you face life issues, and as you work on things with people, and as people make demands on your life and your resources, sometimes these demands are uncalled for. The people demanding them are not qualified for the benefit they seek. But I recommend sincerely that sometimes allow yourself to be persuaded, because these people might be angels on an errand to save your life. Just like they saved my life, saved my honor and integrity, and saved the job that I have not even begun, the job that defined my life, the life that you have today. If you have loved this video, we invite you to love it, to share it, to comment on it, to ask questions, and above all, do subscribe to our YouTube channel. All these acts would position us to serve you better in this our desire to give back to society. Thank you, and do have a wonderful day.